Growing up as a gamer in the mid-2000s was like wandering through a cultural no man's land. You had the remnants of the golden age, Halo 2, Knights of the Old Republic, Half-Life 2, but nothing that really felt ours. The industry was pivoting hard into online multiplayer and gritty realism. And the big-budget single-player RPG, it was starting to feel like a dying breed. Sure, there were flashes of brilliance, Oblivion, Deus Ex, Fable, but they always came with caveats. Too janky, too limited. It felt like the promise of truly cinematic, choice-driven storytelling was always just out of reach. The ambition was there, the execution wasn't. But then, in 2007, a name started circulating. Mass Effect, a new IP from BioWare. A sci-fi epic with a fully voiced protagonist, real-time combat, branching storylines and consequences that would carry across an entire trilogy. And for the first time, it felt like the future had finally arrived. I am Jake, and this is nerdsection.com. In November 2007, something quietly revolutionary landed in the hands of gamers. No, it wasn't another gritty shooter or an edgy indie darling. It was a sweeping, cinematic RPG set in a fully realized galaxy, where your choices weren't just flavor text, they shaped the fates of civilizations. Mass Effect was born. Back then, BioWare was already known for classics like Baldur's Gate and Knights of the Old Republic. But Mass Effect wasn't just another RPG. It was BioWare going full throttle on ambition, delivering a sci-fi epic that didn't just let you play as a hero, it made you feel like one. Commander Shepard wasn't just a character you controlled. They were a projection of your will, your decisions, your values. Every dialogue choice, every branching narrative arc, every squadmate you chose to trust or sacrifice felt like it mattered, and for once, it actually did. The trilogy evolved with every entry. Mass Effect 1 had that clunky, crunchy, slightly awkward but endearing energy of a game that had no idea how beloved it would become. Driving the Mako across barren planets, listening to that now iconic synth soundtrack, exploring a citadel that felt alive with possibility. It had rough edges, but it had vision. It was a foundation. Then came Mass Effect 2, and that's when the franchise went nuclear. Mass Effect 2 was lightning in a bottle, a darker, more refined, more cinematic experience. They sanded off the jank, tightened the combat, deepened the writing, and introduced one of the most beloved casts in gaming history. Garrus, Miranda, Mordin, Thane, Tully, Jack, each with their own backstory, motivations, loyalty quests, and unique voice. These weren't just party members, they were your crew, your family. You could romance them, betray them, save them, or watch them die. The stakes? Galactic. The gameplay? Streamlined and addictive. The loyalty missions alone were some of the finest storytelling ever to grace a controller. And the final mission, the infamous suicide mission, was nothing short of a masterstroke. A test of all your choices, all your preparation, all your trust in your team. People still talk about who made it, who didn't, and how they managed to keep everyone alive or didn't. Then came Mass Effect 3, the end of the journey. And yeah, we have to talk about the ending, because no discussion of Mass Effect is complete without the great ending controversy. Let's be real, fans were livid. After shaping their Shepard across 3 games and nearly 100 hours of gameplay, many felt that the final moments didn't reflect the scope of their choices. The original endings felt rushed, indistinct, and unsatisfying. BioWare eventually patched in an extended cut to give more context and closure. Did it fix everything? No. But it did help, and yet, despite the outrage, the trilogy endured. Not just endured, thrived. Because in the years that followed, as more and more big-budget games chased cinematic grandeur, few ever recaptured the emotional depth, narrative ambition, or sheer soul of Mass Effect. It's easy to forget now, but Mass Effect was doing things other games wouldn't even dare to attempt. It told a multi-game story that genuinely respected your decisions. It let you punch a reporter or broker peace between ancient alien races. It made you fall in love, suffer loss, make impossible decisions, and then live with them. So many games since have tried to imitate the formula. Cyberpunk 2077, Starfield, The Outer Worlds, Andromeda, and even BioWare's own attempts to revive the magic. None have matched it. They either leaned too hard into spectacle and forgot the characters, or got lost in shallow open worlds bloated with meaningless tasks. But Mass Effect had something they didn't: clarity of vision. It knew what it wanted to be. A galaxy-spanning epic anchored by human relationships. And that's the secret. That's the thing modern devs keep forgetting. It wasn't just the sci-fi cool factor, it was the people. Shepard and their squad weren't just space commandos, they were friends, enemies, lovers, mirrors. From the moment you met Garrus and his charmingly rogue C-Sec attitude, or listened to Tali explain the tragic isolation of the Quarians, you were hooked. These were characters with layers, pain, humor, loyalty, more than singing Gilbert and Sullivan. Grunt learning what it means to be a true Krogan. Jack unpacking her trauma in the most punk rock way possible. These were moments that stuck with you, not because they were flashy, but because they were real. Even visually, Mass Effect remains iconic. And that awesome synth-heavy score. It wrapped the entire universe in a feeling of awe and melancholy. That title screen from Mass Effect 1, with the camera slowly panning across a planet while the theme plays, is forever burned into gamers' memories. The UI, the N7 branding, the Normandy's sleek silhouette, it all became instantly recognizable. There is a reason the fanbase still wears N7 jackets and tattoos on their arms. In 2021, BioWare re-released the Legendary Edition, a remastered version of all 3 games bundled together with updated visuals and gameplay tweaks. And once again, players flooded back. Some returning veterans, others first-timers. But the consensus was near universal. This trilogy still hits. It still matters. Even newcomers in the 2020s, raised on the likes of Horizon, God of War, or Spider-Man, were stunned by how well it held up. Not just technically, but emotionally. That's the part nobody can quite replicate. The emotional gravity. Andromeda tried. It wasn't a bad game. It had moments. But it lacked the spark, the urgency, the gravitas. Its cast never clicked the same way. The villains didn't inspire fear. The choices felt less impactful. It was like a cover band playing the right notes but missing the soul. As for the future, BioWare is working on Mass Effect 5. We've seen cryptic teasers, leaks, nods to returning characters. But the question remains, can lightning strike twice? Can they find that rare blend of action, story, character and choice that made the original trilogy immortal? Maybe. Hopefully. But until it arrives, the trilogy stands unchallenged. Because Mass Effect wasn't just about saving the galaxy. It was about defining what kind of person you were while doing it. Were you compassionate, ruthless, idealistic, pragmatic? Did you punch the council or work with them? Did you broker peace or light the match? And when it all ended, when the Normandy crashed, when Shepard took their final breath, when the Reapers fell or ascended, you were left with a story that felt wholly, uniquely yours. A legacy. There have been prettier games, bigger games, games with flashier combat or more complex systems, but none have blended it all: story, emotion, choice, consequence and charisma, the way Mass Effect did. And maybe that's why nearly 20 years later, we are still talking about it, still arguing about which ending was best, still romancing Liara or Garrus, still debating Paragon versus Renegade, still rewatching the Suicide Mission like it's the Normandy Super Bowl. Some stories just live forever. And Mass Effect, that's one of them. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And check out our video about how NPCs in video games work. See you next time here on Nerd Section.